Hello and welcome to Devotion to Writing, a channel devoted to helping you cultivate a daily writing practice. So I read this quote by Marc Chagall today, and it says, "The dignity of the artist, writer, creator lies in their duty of keeping awake that sense of wonder in the world. In this long vigil, the writer often has to vary his methods of stimulation. But in this long vigil, he is also himself striving against a continual tendency to sleep." And this quote, it inspired me. It was like, a wake-up call. And it reminds me that, what we are engaged in, although it can be difficult, the act of writing or the act of creating anything, that it is important work. And it may seem, I don't know, we have so many hang-ups about it that it might be a waste of time, and we often don't know what we're doing. We have no idea what the work might do out in the world, but that there is a duty of the artist, the writer, the creator, to stay awake and to keep awake, what Chagall calls that sense of wonder in the world. That we ourselves can be in awe and in wonder at the world, and to convey that, to be awake enough to see it anew. And I know it is so difficult to remain awake and not to get dragged down by the weight of the collective sorrow, by our communities, by society, which, all of the problems in which, the world faces. This is our collective story. And it's also become a way of seeing that it's doom, that it's sad. And it's hard to not just close your eyes and be lazy and comfortable and go to sleep, because there's just so much going on. But this long vigil, Chagall says, requires us to vary our stimulation in order to remain awake. And our devotion, our practice is, as I have said before, a vehicle that can support our creative journey and keep us awake. But even in our devotion, even if we are practicing, we can get into a rut. And this is, another thing I wanted to address in this video is we can go into autopilot, and we can fall asleep, and we can start to go into tropes, writing cliches, right? But we have to be vigilant. We have to remain vigilant and stay awake and watch for the sleep in ourselves. Watch for the exhaustion in ourselves, and maybe the easy, trite ways of writing and of seeing. And if you're just new to writing or new to your creativity, and you might just be waking up to yourself as an artist and as a creator, maybe you're finally paying attention to this part of you that has been dormant for a while, a part of you that you haven't nurtured. And so because you haven't nurtured it, you're just at the beginning of this relationship with it. Now you are starting, and now you are awake, and you're awakening, or I should say, in awakening from the comforts of the sleep. That might feel scary too. That might put you a little bit on edge, and you might feel that in writing, that you're in nurturing and cultivating your creativity, that you're threatening or disturbing something that up until now, something in yourself that has been fairly innocuous and dormant, and now, but maybe restless. Maybe it was dormant and innocuous, but it wasn't necessarily pleasant. That is, it was in you, and it was restive, and it was disturbing you nonetheless. You just weren't doing anything with it. And I'm saying this because for me, I know it wasn't pleasant to be sleeping on my writer and creative self. But it took a lot of effort to keep that writing muted, to keep myself from saying what I needed to say. So I thought about writing all the time. I wanted to write. I had stories, I had poems, I was excited. And what did I do with that? Nothing. I knocked it out for years. I put it back to sleep. Each time it woke up, I put it back to sleep. And each time it woke up, it was louder and it was more demanding. And it went on this way until I could no longer not write. It became untenable. It became so disruptive in me that I had to write. And fortunately, at that time, as I've told in other videos, I had a great friend who challenged me to devote myself to my writing, to my creativity. And then I found that it was tenable to just give in and write. It was more tenable to write than to keep suppressing the writing, to keep being in fear. And when I did this, I realized that all of those barricades, all those obstacles that had appeared so solid to me to write through, they were blown away like dust. They were nothing. And so even though there's doubt that remains, that doubt does not silence me. It doesn't put me back to sleep. And though I still feel fear at creating, sometimes it pops up. I also feel that it is joyous to stay engaged, to continue to keep myself awake through and to the wonder of the world through these new creations that come, these new stories, these new poems, these new images, these new ideas. These keep me awake, and also teaching keeps me awake, and photographing keeps me awake. It's always the creativity itself is keeping me awake. It always puts me in an uncomfortable place. It puts me at that uncomfortable threshold of what I understand and what I am comfortable doing and saying. It is always putting me at that threshold of I don't know quite what to do and how to do it. So it's at that beginning, and I can't see the destination, and I'm trying to stay open to what I'm discovering, or I'm trying to stay open so that I can discover, so that I can remain in wonder. And that is such like a child. It is like a child who is awake. They're just, everything is one thing after the next brings them alive. The next sentence, the next flower, the next butterfly flying in front of them. And you cannot know the excitement of this until it arrives. And welcome it as wondrous. And then the next thing comes, and the next question, and you live it. And that is what it is to be vigilant, to stay awake. You are giving to, you are in relationship with what enlivens you. So where have you gone to sleep? Where have you gone to sleep? Maybe that's a good prompt for today. You can take this literally or metaphorically. Where have you gone to sleep? What did you find when you woke up? Maybe that's the opposite of that. So you can have both the sleep and the awakening to the wonder. Where have you gone to sleep? What did you find when you woke? You can take this again literally, literal sleep, literally waking, or a metaphorical sleep and a metaphorical waking. So try that. I thank you for watching. I know that what I am offering through Devotion to Writing to you as a writer they're not directions, step by step. How do you write a novel? How do you write a poem? How do you develop a character? How do you do line breaks? Right? I'm not doing any of those things. But I know that if you write consistently, that you will learn to write the things that you need to write. You'll learn to write that novel and that story and that poem. But that what stops you from writing these things, the stories and the poems, isn't that you can't write, isn't that you aren't able to write, but the mind, our minds, our doubts, our fears, our stories, they get in the way. They stop us. Before we even start, we start to think. So what I'm offering, what I hope I am offering, are ways to get you past the mind and into the abundant creativity that you are, by the very nature of your being, you are, to get you into this abundance so that you just realize that you will be able to write these stories. You'll be able to write the poems. You just need to get to the page. And so again, I know that I'm not offering you how to write a story. I'm offering you, I hope, how to write, how to get over the blocks, over the fears, the doubts. Over is not even the right word, because I don't know that we get over them, but to work regardless. That yes, the fear is there. Yes, the doubt comes up. I'm going to get to the page and I'm going to write anyway, because in me, I'm speaking for you, in me, there is the need, there is the desire, there is the call to write. And I want to be awake, and I want to be awake to the wonder of the world, to write that awake, to be that alive, as Chagall says, is the duty of the writer, the artist, the creator, to, I think, lift ourselves above the common, above the chatter of the everyday that is dragging so many people down, that is that weight, that great collective sorrow that we are in, that life, right? And to see it fresh, to see the beauty of it, to see the horror of it as well, but to give all of these things in with our unique way of seeing, of relating, because it is coming from a place of wakefulness. And to give, again, our stories, our poems, what we see, what we experience, to give that to the world as a gift, so others might see through that, might receive that story just when they need to hear that story. They might get that image just when they need to get that image. And it is, as I said in just the past video, that sometimes people need a story or a poem more than food in order to live. So I hope you write deeply today. I know that if you do write, you will write beautifully, because beautiful is what you are. So put that pen to paper, type on your keyboard, write in your notebook, set a time every day to cultivate your writing practice, and your devotion will carry you to places you cannot even imagine. Blessings.